an assessment to see how well they have understand the concept and grasp it. And with the evaluation, the teacher will know whether or not she'll have to reteach the entire class or work with 3 pupils and a particular concept and another 3 with that concept. So this is ongoing. It is not just at the end of the year or at the end of the term, but throughout the year. Sometimes 2 times a week, you have different forms of evaluation taking place. This is to ensure that learning takes place and not only teaching and the children being taught.
Right. So those are the 3 different evaluations you have on your curriculum, the teachers, and the pupils.
Yeah.
Very good. Mrs. Spring, the MAC is well known for producing great speakers as well as writers. I know that the MAC often wins these essay competitions and so on. How do you, well, you would know, how do they manage to get these students reading so well by the time they enter into the 1st grade? Could you share a little bit of the secret to that?
The magic. The MAC has a very strong focus on language. And we find that it is very, very important, especially reading. And as I usually say to my staff, if a child passed through the MAC cannot read, then therefore we are not very effective nor successful. Because reading, to me and to all of us, is extremely important. Even as old as I am or experienced as I am, when I travel abroad, that's the time I see the importance of reading. Because just the other day I went to Barcelona, and my host said to me, Clinton, when you go to the train station, make sure you read where the train is going. Make sure you read the name of the platform you're standing on. And I said to him, but why? I am experiencing that. But when I'm there by myself, I see what it is very important. So we put a strong emphasis on reading. So by the time that the child is 5 years old, 80% of our children learn to read. By the time they get into grade 1, they are 95% very good at reading. The other aspect that we put emphasis on is writing, because we have speaking, reading, and writing, and listening, speaking, reading, and writing. In writing, it gives us a very, very, very good tool to see how well the child has internalized what he or she has learned. And we believe that children should be as vocal as possible, and they must develop a very good vocabulary for writing and speaking. And because of that, we put a lot of emphasis on that. We also would like to carry on that into a secondary school, where we have what we call a language stream. Because in St. Martin, you will be able to learn English, Dutch, French, Spanish, Papiamento without even going into a classroom, because that's the culture of St. Martin. And if our children have to be very good ambassador, they must have a good grasp of language.
Okay.
So it's because of the emphasis we place on it.
Okay. Well, Mr. Spring, we have to take a break. When we come back, we will continue our discussion about education at the MAC Foundation. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Man, I'm supposed to take my girl out to dinner this weekend. I'm so broke, man.
Man, I used to have those same problems, but since I got my whip company card, when I take my lady out, I even get something back,
Get something back? But you're a lucky fella.
I took your mind out the gutter, man. What I mean is, with whip company I get back 1% on every purchase I make. With this card, I can spend in guilders and use it throughout the Netherlands and TDs. Instead of paying 1% of the dollar credit card, man, I get 1% back on every purchase I make at the end of the year.
What? I gotta get myself a company on card.
Man, but let's go.
Let me go. Man, now my lady's birthday gonna be a real celebration.
At least now with Whip Compaleon, I know you're gonna get something back.
The Web Compaleon credit card with limits as low as 500 guilders. You don't have to walk with cash, and it is accepted by practically all businesses. The WIB Compa Leon is the first Gilder credit card that can be afforded by anyone.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, Saba, and Statia, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Hi, and welcome back to A Better Place. Mr. Spring, we know that it's very important for a school to have teachers who are very good at what they do in order for them to really see their students excel as well. So how do you go about the recruitment of your teachers for the MAC Foundation?
Okay. Teachers recruitment is extremely important to us because we want to have the best. And along with that, we need to have teachers who are teachable. Even though they're teachers, they must be teachable, because we do not want a teacher to come into the school and enforce his or her way of doing things. He must follow the model that we have. So we have to be extremely careful of the teachers that we employ for our school. In years gone by, the qualification that was necessary was a certificate in teachers' education, a bachelor's in education, or a master's. But the basic was just a teacher certificate. Those who have gone to teachers training college spend 2 years or 3 years. But recently, with the attainment of a new political status of St. Martin, now become Country St. Martin, the law has been enforced that a teacher in the elementary school must have a bachelor's in education. So for the school year 2012-2013, any new teacher that is being employed must have a bachelor's in education. The teachers who are already in our employ and who do not have a bachelor's in education, they now have to upgrade themselves through courses, and most of them have applied to the University of St. Martin to upgrade themselves to a bachelor's in education. There is a recruitment committee that committee does the interview. And what we are doing, we have a set of questions which we ask each teacher. And these questions will relate to the personal background of the candidate, his or her classroom management, his or her experience as a teacher, and the sort of vision that he or she might bring to the Methodist Agogic Center. And on those questions, the teachers are rated. And if the rating is satisfactory, that the teacher meets the standard, then we will employ that particular teacher. And one of the things that we are trying to enforce at this particular time, where the teachers are concerned, is to have a psychological evaluation. Because many of us, we might have the academic qualification, right, but when it comes to the social part of our lives, many of us might be lacking. For a school manager, it is compulsory that the school manager must undergo a psychological evaluation and a full medical evaluation before that person is considered to be a manager in the school. And you have to pass those two evaluations.
You know, it's interesting because I think for just about every profession where you deal with people, you have to undergo a psychological test. You know, I'm sure you have undergone it yourself. So what exactly are they looking for when you do a psychological test?
A psychological test, it looks at your personal development. It also looks at your social development and also your relationship with others. Because sometimes your personal characteristic can be in conflict with your social or your work characteristic or character.
Right.
The two of them could be a conflict, because as a person you might be nice and kind and gentle, but when you come to work with somebody, you might not have that social skills, that social interaction, how to interact with the person to work together, and so as to push your organization forward.
Right.
The psychological evaluation usually show up those weaknesses and strength of a particular person, to be able to work well with the colleague, to be able to follow instruction. As I said earlier, we need somebody who is teachable, because a person might come with like the high and mighty. I have a master's degree, I did excellent, but when it comes to relationship, you might have a 0.
Right.
And those are not the people we want in the class.
Right, right. You talked about following the modules, and therefore, like you said, following the guidelines set forth for a teacher. I realize that within education, and it's primary as well as secondary and tertiary as well, that a lot of the schools are moving towards that, working in modules, meaning that if a child is not successful in attaining a passing grade for a particular subject or module, they do not continue on until they have actually gained a sufficient passing grade. Is that something that's also done within the MAC? How does that work, or is it not done at the MAC school?
In a way, yes. In a way, no.
Okay.
It's because we are at the elementary school. So if a child, for example, is struggling with mathematics, let us say mathematics is a subject that a lot of children are struggling with. So let us say, for example, we are doing decimals at a grade 5 level. The child is struggling with the multiplication of decimals. It does not necessarily mean that the teacher will have to stick all day long for 5 weeks or 3 weeks doing the. There are times when the child, you rest it for a while, you go on to something else, but you're going to come back to it. So to make sure that the child got that skill, because when he goes up to the next level, he really needs that. But math is something of the sort that if you're struggling with a particular concept here, it means that probably you do not have the foundation for it.
Right.
So you'll have to leave that and go and find what is causing it, and then you come back.
Right.
It might be you do not have the basic, and those are some of the things that we do at the MAC, because we have to really ensure that the child has that foundation and that basic before he's able to move on to the next level.
Well, Mr. Spring, we're going to continue talking about the MAC school. You have so much, knowledge and information to bring forth. So therefore, we're going to have a part 2. So for now, I want to thank you in the first part of, talking about education at the Methodist Agogic Center Foundation. And we will continue our discussion in a part 2 of this program. To you, the viewing audience, I would like to thank you for having joined us today on A Better Place, as we brought to you much information concerning the Methodist Agogic Center Foundation. Stay tuned as we bring you part 2 on this same topic. I am your host, Angelique Rumeau.